Everyone starts at zero. And that's what I tell people who join me in the programs that I've created. Now, oftentimes we look at the huge following that other tutors have or the number of video views someone has, and we think they must have some kind of superpower that allows them to have that kind of success. And we immediately begin thinking, but I can't get results like that. We become overwhelmed by the process, and it stunts our ability to have students. But I'm going to share some secrets in today's video that will shed some light on how to get the kind of success that you are looking for so that you can be seen as an expert and have people emailing you in your inbox requesting your services so that you can get off the marketing treadmill and spend more time making a huge impact getting results for each of your students. Hey there, my name's Joanne Kaminski, and while I've been tutoring reading online since 2010, I've also unlocked special secrets to help tutors get book solid. And if you like content like this, where I share these kinds of secrets, then hit that like button and subscribe. Now, when I first got started working with tutors, I thought that all I needed to do was tell them what I did. They would do it as well, and they would get results. I had a lot to learn. And now after 7 years of helping tutors book their online tutoring business solid, I've learned that this strategy only works with other tutors that are just like me. But there are other tutors that are motivated by different things than I am. And I have dived deep into motivation in the last 7 years. I've invested over $50,000 in my own education to learn how to market my online tutoring business. I've taken courses to learn how to market online, have successful sales conversations, and connect with others so that they can build powerful business relationships. This stuff didn't come natural to me. It was expensive, but worth every penny. I've taken what I've learned from these expensive courses and applied them not only to my own online tutoring business, but share what I have learned along the way to save you time and money. Now, let me show you how I became book solid. It is hard for some people to realize that when I got started, I had 0 students. I mean, they think, Joanne is book solid today, so it must have been easy for her. But it has been a long uphill battle that I chose to stick with over time with consistent and persistent action. In fact, while I'm able to help tutors like Terry Grigsby get book solid in 5 months, it took me 2 years to accomplish that myself. I was trying to balance being a stay-at-home mom to 3 little girls and be seen as an expert. I was not an overnight success, but I did stick with it and have now made over $500,000 tutoring reading online. I've had some students that I've worked with in math, writing, test prep, and spelling, but reading is my favorite. I remember how excited I was when I came up with the idea of tutoring online. I immediately thought about creating a website. Then I started thinking about materials. And one of the benefits, and also one of the disadvantages, is that when I got started, I didn't have all the steps laid out in front of me. I remember jotting down as much of my idea as possible on a sheet of paper and then hearing this little voice speak to me. And it was God telling me that everything that I was writing down may not even be what my business would look like. I heard him tell me that I just needed to take one step at a time. And this immediately took the overwhelm away. And now I'm going to be recreating this idea for tutors in my new Jumpstart program for online tutors. So stay tuned to learn more about it. I spent an entire summer putting together books that I would use online because I hadn't really tapped into the power of the internet and what it would allow me to do as an online tutor. Today, I see other tutors wondering the same thing. How am I going to do what I do to do what I do in person? But I need to switch the way that I think about online tutoring and start thinking about what tools are available to me now that I'm online. I found that I was able to close the gap because I did keep an open mind about what resources were available to me rather than thinking, how do I digitize every single resource I currently have? Now, after putting these PowerPoint books together, I was talking with a group of friends about my tutoring business. And one girl asked me how I was marketing my business. And honestly, I'd been so busy putting materials together for the past 3 months that I hadn't put 1 ounce of effort into marketing. And I immediately switched gears and I started thinking about how I was going to get the word out there. Now, I started with getting my website created. I had learned SEO from another business that I worked with in my first year after leaving the school system, but knew it would take time before SEO would kick into effect. So in addition to SEO, I did some guerrilla marketing. I went to cheapsigns.com and I got 50 yard signs that I could put up. They were easy to make, but as soon as it came time to actually put them up, I had to muster up a whole lot of courage to do it. It was way harder to take action than I ever imagined. I began to tell myself that if I took 5 actions every day to market my business, that all I had to do was be patient and let the rest happen. I counted each sign as one action because that was so hard for me, not physically, but mentally to put up. I thought, what if someone I know sees me putting up a sign? Or what will they think? Or what will someone tell me about putting these signs up? Will they tell me I shouldn't be? My heart rate would beat so quickly and I would get so exhausted so fast. And then it happened. I got my first phone call. I chatted with a mom for an entire hour, and she shared with me how her daughter was doing, and I talked a whole lot about me. I laugh today as I think about this conversation because I had no one to guide me in how to have an effective conversation. However, at the end of that hour, she agreed to try it online. And before I even had my first session with her daughter, she was so excited about doing online tutoring that she even convinced her neighbor who had 2 kids to do tutoring with me. Now, about a month later, a parent with a set of twins called me because of her, and in 2 months, I had 7 students. This was all right out of the gate of getting started. And I soon realized the power of word of mouth in this business and how it was going to be my favorite way of getting hired. But I knew that I couldn't rely solely on other people talking about my business to keep me book solid. So I continued to take 5 actions a day. I began experiencing growing pains as I built my business. And some of the processes that I built, they were not serving me well. I worked out those kinks so that I could have a smooth running business that allowed me to work with my students more and less on managing and marketing my business. I joined a blogging challenge at one point and had the amazing idea to start blogging to get the word out there about my business. And I decided that since I would have to write every single day, that I would turn it into a book. And that book ended up becoming an Amazon bestseller. I decided to create a children's story based off a picture that one of my friends actually drew of my children. And it is called 3 Little Sisters Learn to Get Along. Now, this book also made it onto the Amazon bestseller list, and I was able to go into schools to share with them the writing process as an author. I not only got paid for some of these visits, but also got tutoring clients from them. In fact, one of my students stayed with me for 4 years because he had dyslexia and a short-term memory disability. And after my 2nd year of tutoring, I finally had become book solid, even as a mom with a young family. I was on top of the world, and my next goal was to begin sharing this journey with other tutors. I wanted to help them get results faster than me, have a community of tutors that they trusted and respected, that they could turn to for help, answers, and networking. And while journeying this path, I've learned a ton about helping other tutors. I've learned that it's not just enough to tell tutors what I did and have them replicate it. I wanted to give tutors everything I had learned, but for them to have the entire journey laid out all at once has proven to be overwhelming to them. And as I reflect on this, I would have been overwhelmed if I knew ahead of time all of the actions that needed to happen in order to make this a reality. Remember how I said that God didn't give me all the pieces at once? He told me that all I had to do was work on my business one day at a time. He knew I'd be overwhelmed to have it all at once. So today I drip small actions that tutors need to take in order to get the success that they truly desire. No longer do tutors need to guess what video they should watch next or worry that they are too far behind. In fact, I have a No Tutor Left Behind initiative going on right now with the very first Jumpstart Your Online Tutoring Business program. And in this program, tutors are matched up with a personal coach to guide them on the journey. See, in the beginning, tutors are shy. It's easy to watch videos on YouTube, but it is hard to be seen in a community and take part. Every tutor that joins the Jumpstart program will get not only the step-by-step system to getting one online tutoring student or a whole lot more, but also a personal coach that will be able to give feedback and join them on this journey. And every single coach has worked with me and has been book solid as well. And each of them have walked the path that you are about to walk on. And as I've been guiding tutors over the past few years, I've learned that creating a website is actually a sticking point to getting students. Tutors will spend weeks, months, and sometimes years perfecting their website before they put it out there in front of others. There's a fear that they have about pushing publish. And the first fear is that if they push publish, then there will be a rush of students who will be contacting them. And this stops them from pushing the publish button. The second fear that comes is when they do push publish and no one finds it. So they begin to freak out that they will never find any online tutoring clients. There are so many websites on the internet today that we cannot expect Google to drive our traffic. We need to point people in a meaningful way to our website. But this is not even the strategy that we're going to start with because, like I said, it's too overwhelming. We start with some short-term strategies to getting online tutoring students. Then we begin to automate some of the processes so that we're putting in the right tools right from the start. And then we learn how to have an effective sales conversation. Because if we attract a ton of leads, but we can't move them forward with online tutoring, then our efforts are wasted. And after that, we continue to put in place our short-term strategies for getting online tutoring students while building our long-term strategy. Now, when I surveyed tutors about what was their biggest challenge with social media in their business, 16% said that they didn't know what to say. 6% said that the technology is overwhelming and they didn't understand how to use the tools. 20% mentioned that they didn't have time, and 35% said that they didn't have a strategy to focus their efforts. 23% said that they struggled with all of the above. Now, that 35% really stuck out to me as being the biggest reason why tutors struggle with social media. They simply don't have a strategy. So during the Jumpstart program, my goal is to make sure that every tutor that joins the Jumpstart program does have a strategy, something that becomes a habit so that it isn't something that tutors need to think about. It's something that they choose to do to keep a healthy heartbeat on their business and suffer less from that roller coaster effect so that tutors can not only get booked solid, but stay booked solid. Now, Alan Sal, an online math tutor, left his engineering job to start his own online tutoring business. And he's a stay-at-home dad working 35 to 38 hours a week tutoring math. He's currently charging $65 to $70 an hour and plans on raising his rates to $100 an hour next year. Here's Alan's story.
Hi, I'm Alan Sal. I'm currently a full-time tutor, but prior to this, I was an electrical engineer. I had a bachelor's and a master's degree in electrical engineering, and I did that for 11 years. I got paid pretty well for it too, actually, but I always really enjoyed tutoring. So I was always a volunteer tutor ever since college, and then even through my working career, I always had one or two students I just took on for free just to help them out. And it wasn't until about 2017 that I started really just seeing like, well, what it would look like for paying clients. And fast forward to about April of 2019 is when I quit my job to focus on tutoring full-time. And that's when I found Joanne's Insider Secrets Club. And I learned a great deal about setting my value. One of the things I've been working on a lot is my value was based on my salary at the time, which was equivalently about $70, $75 an hour was my engineering salary. So, I mean, that's kind of like in my mind what I thought I would be trying to, if I achieved that, that would be what I was trying to go for. But now this is my first semester being full-time. I'm tutoring 35 to 30, I think I did 38 hours of tutoring last week, which is kind of a little too much. That's a lot of talking. I mean, some people think 40 hours a week full-time job, but when you're constantly talking and engaging with students and not having breaks, it's a lot to take on. So I think my ideal is probably more like 30 hours, but right now I'm about 37, 38 hours because I'm just trying to fit in all of the students. I've had to turn away a number of students that just said, like, look, I don't have any availability. You're happy to look at the calendar and see if there's an opening that you want to take, but it's pretty full right now. So I've been very blessed, and I'm making adjustments and raising my rates. And this 38 hours for me is I'm charging about most of my clients are about $65 an hour. Some are at $70, and I just raised my rates to $85 an hour, and I plan to raise it to about $100 starting in January after the semester ends. I get a mix of students from Algebra 2 all the way up to electrical engineering courses, so it's a mix. I have a good mix of college students and high school students. And I would say 2/3 of my students I acquired myself through some of the techniques like Craigslist or some of the other things that Joanne has suggested that I've learned from. And the other last third comes from Wyzant. And some of those students on there, actually a lot of my students are like $85 to $100 an hour on there, but I take away the Wyzant takes 25% of that, and so I take home more like $68, $63 to $75 an hour, depending on the rate that I set there. But that kind of tells you the level of rate that I'm starting to hit and what I'm going to try to swing for acquiring my own students. And so I'd say it's totally doable. The biggest obstacles are going to be your motivation to just, for me, was setting my rate as like what I can get students at, not necessarily what I got paid as an engineer to do, but really what people value in terms of my time. And I don't want to be in a position where I'm so full that I cannot take on either new students, or I can't even help my existing students with extra time, because I have a lot of backlog students who are just like, look, if an hour opens up, please let me know and I will take it.
And then there's Lisa. Lisa's been with the community for a year now, and she started by watching my videos on YouTube. And since joining the community, she also is book solid. She was able to learn how to get one student and repeat it so that she could continue to get more students and book her online tutoring business story. And here's Lisa's story.
Hi, my name is Lisa Vicino, and I am a member of the Insider Secrets Club. I joined because at the beginning of the year, when I was trying to find clients, I didn't feel like I was making an impact and that I was reaching my ideal students. And I just felt like I was wasting my time. Even though I was putting a lot of time into marketing, I wasn't getting results. So after watching a ton of Joanne's videos on YouTube, I decided to take the plunge and to join, and boy, was I happy. So I learned what avenues for marketing were working for our particular area, which is tutoring. I learned how to talk to potential clients and actually help them to understand that I could provide value and help their student to do their very best. I learned how to have that really awkward sales conversation, which is so important because I had to be comfortable having the conversation. And really, I just found that as I got to know all the members of the group, that I felt supported. I didn't feel alone. I had someone to talk about my business with that was actually interested and excited and understood what I was talking about.
Now, I share these stories with you so that you can see what is possible for your business. These are not typical results of people just getting started, and I'm not promising you that it will happen for you. But what if it did? What if you were able to book student after student after student until you were book solid? What would that be worth to you? I know that some of you are thinking, where do I sign up? But the doors actually don't open until next week. So if you're interested in getting on the list so that we can send you an invite as soon as the doors open, then fill out the link in the description. And once the doors open, we only have 50 spots that are going to be available. The doors are going to open for 1 week, and after the spots fill up, the doors will close. So it will be on a first come, first serve availability. Now, next Monday, I'm going to be sharing all the details about the program. But until then, I would love to offer you a free gift, a 15-minute session with me to personally help you with one area that you would like guidance in. I'm going to share the solution that I've personally found that works so that you can have the success that you've been dreaming about and have more of those light bulb moments with each of your students. In fact, I want to help you create so many light bulb moments that you light up an entire city. Now, if you want to learn about other tutors that have had success inside of my community, then watch this YouTube live that I did where tutors share how they got started and how they got the success that they have today. All you need to do is click the link in the right-hand corner, and you're going to be motivated by how much these tutors are charging and how many hours they are working doing what they love. Each of these tutors has the freedom from the school system, the flexibility to be present for their family, and the ability to continue to tutor even after they've retired.